Hey guys, what's going on? I hope you all are doing well today. Elliot here, and welcome back to The Fragrance Well. So today's episode is going to be a show and tell video. In other words, I'm gonna share with you guys something about my wearing experience. It's gonna be my top signature scents for the year of 2023. Now, I've done signature scent videos before where I've given basically, from an opinion standpoint, my top signature scents. That's not what this is going to be. This is actually going to be based on wears that I've done. And what I used to kind of compile this list is, these are all fragrances that I wore for more than 2 days in a row as my scent of the day. Now, I'm the kind of guy that likes to intently wear a different fragrance every day so I can kind of get the full experience of my cabinet. But if I'm being honest, and as I've kind of learned recently, because this is more of a recent thing for me, when you wear fragrances day after day, you almost kind of peel back the layers in a way to where you kind of experience a further depth of the fragrance, if that makes any sense. You kind of get something from wearing it back to back to back that you may not get from wearing it this day, and then 2 months later you wear it again. Anyway, that's not really the main focus of the video. I'm just pretty much sharing what my top signature scents for 2023 are, and I've got 10 of them. They're not ranked. They're just going to be based off that stipulation. I've worn them for more than 1, 2, 3 days in a row at some point during the year. So before we get started, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you do like the content, and remember to hit that bell icon so you can be notified when I upload new videos. Let's get into it. All right, guys, let's get it started. The first one's from the house of Marc-Antoine Barras, and this is Ganymede. Marc-Antoine Barras' Ganymede. So this is actually the most recent fragrance that I did this with. I've been out of town for about 5 days, and this was my scent of the day every day. Because instead of bringing a number of fragrances, which is what I would normally do when I am gone that long, I said, nope, I'm just gonna pick one, and I'm gonna wear that one the whole time I'm gone. So that's what I did with this. And I gotta tell you, it was an enjoyable wearing experience. If anything, I already kind of knew this would be a signature scent for me, but it really confirmed it because I really enjoyed the wearing experience, and it's a great fragrance that lasts all day long. So if you want something like that, this will get you through it. One of the things I really noticed while wearing this day after day was the saffron really started to come out a little bit stronger, really kind of catering to that leathery aspect that this has. And I think I really started to pick up the Akigala wood in here. That's not something I've smelled on its own, so I don't really know how to describe it without just simply looking it up. But I started to pick up this woodiness that I wasn't really noticing if I would just wear it one day and then put it back on the shelf. And one of my favorite things about this fragrance really started to come out even more. That's the Osmanthus and the Immortelle that's in this. I think those two combined to create a really wonderful orange flavored sugariness, kind of burnt sugariness that the fragrance has. So once again, from the house of Marc-Antoine Barras, this is Ganymede. All right, next one's from the house of Ormond Jain. We've got Montabaco Intensivo. Ormond Jain, Montabaco Intensivo. So if you've been watching my channel for, well, really since the summertime on, you should know that this is one I have talked about a lot. I've sung its praises a lot. I've definitely said I've been wearing it a number of times, and as you can see, for me only having it for really less than 6 months, it already has a pretty good dent in it for somebody who wears a different fragrance every day most of the time. But this is definitely one I have worn in succession of days. It's not one you have to spray a ton, so that dent speaks a little bit more volumes. I wouldn't spray this more than 6 times. For me, it starts off as a really wonderful, cooling and air fresh tea fragrance, and then it dries down to this kind of clean, woody, leafy tobacco fragrance. I really love this stuff. I mean, it's just a great signature scent in general, but I would easily wear this a number of days in a row. It's just such an easy wear. It kind of works for everything. So yes, another one I have worn more than 1, 2, 3 days in a row, and it's probably gonna happen again. So once again, from Ormond Jain, this is Montabaco Intensivo. All right, next one's coming from the house of Zaharoff, and this is Second Soul. Zaharoff, Second Soul. And I think I mentioned it before, but pretty much anytime I'm doing these, wearing the same fragrances over a number of days, it's when I travel, because I travel for work. And if I'm gone more than one night, then that second night or that second day, whatever fragrance I bring, that's gonna be the one that I wear. So this one has been a part of that rotation. This is basically a take on a modern day barbershop scent. A lot of facets in here. Has some nice resinous characteristics, sweet resinous characteristics, a little bit of a booziness. It's got tobacco, kind of a slight mossy leathery undertone to it. I mean, I really do enjoy this scent. Also, it's one I don't have to spray a lot, and I've worn it a number of times, but you know, there's not much juice going because it packs a punch. You don't need to spray it a ton. But yes, I've given this multiple wears in days of succession, and I plan to do it again because this one is a good one for me to wear to like work situations, which like I said, that's when I typically do this. So once again, from the House of Zaharoff, this is Second Soul. All right, guys, next one's coming from the House of Amouage, and this is Portrayal Man. Amouage Portrayal Man. Now, I've actually got a few Amouage fragrances that I've done this for this year, but I chose to just kind of pick this one because I think I've done it the most with this one. It's also one of my favorite Amouages, which is becoming tougher and tougher to choose. I'm actually intently buying up just about every Amouage fragrance I want right now. That's kind of the focus of my buying. But anyway, I've definitely worn this more than 1 or 2 days in a row. I love how this is basically like a richer, denser, simplified version of Dior's Fahrenheit. Lots of violet leaf in here, really nice grassy vetiver kind of sitting underneath it. There's a little bit of Acade oil to give this a kind of a thickness, almost slight tar-like feeling. And there's a beautiful juniper in this that kind of comes out when the fragrance dries down a bit. Without it really kind of having that gin-like smell and without it trying to be overly fresh. It's an interesting take on juniper. This is another one for me that would easily be a signature scent, but you do kind of have to like that Dior Fahrenheit style. It's a little bit more, I guess I would call it old school at this point because Fahrenheit's been out a long time, so not for everyone, but for me, this one really speaks to me. So once again, from the House of Amouage, this is Portrayal Man. All right, next up, coming from the House of Tom Ford, we've got Beau De Jour. Tom Ford, Beau De Jour. Now, this one here is one of my favorite office scents. I call it one of my favorite office scents just because that's when I tend to wear it the most, but you can wear this for anything. This is easily a great signature scent if you like an aromatic fougere with a little bit of a modern day sweet undertone to it. So since it's my favorite office scent, I've obviously worn this to work a number of times, and I have done it when I've been doing the wear it more than 1 day in a row kind of thing. And this is another one that I would easily put on one of my signature scent list anyway. So makes sense that it would fall into this list based on wearing it multiple times in a row. So once again, from the House of Tom Ford, this is Beau De Jour. All right, next up from the House of Xerjoff, this is 40 Knots. Xerjoff's 40 Knots. You know, the more I kind of just get my nose on this, if I pick it up and just smell it or I wear it, I think to myself, like, this is one of those scents that honestly, I could just make my only scent. I'm not even kidding. I think it just kind of works for everything. I've had great wears with it when I do wear it. And once or twice I've worn this in multiple succession, but I think it was only 2 days in a row. I would like to do this one for like, you know, say 3, 4, 5 days and see how my nose changes in terms of picking it up. See if I notice something a little bit different about it. But this is an interesting, non-traditional aquatic fragrance. Has kind of this sea breeze, sea foam kind of vibe to it, but it doesn't really smell like the ocean, and it has this really deep ambery honey sweetness to it. Very interesting aquatic scent. Definitely a crowd pleaser in my opinion, but it does kind of throw some people off. It's not necessarily for everyone, and many people think that this should be a summertime scent, but it can be a little heavy for the summer. Needless to say, I would wear it at any given time, and I would just adjust my sprays up or down, and I have worn this more than 1 or 2, 3 days in a row this year. So once again, from the House of Xerjoff, this is 40 Knots. All right, next up from the House of Nishane, we have got Papilefiko. Nishane, Papilefiko. This one, again, wore it to work when I was gone for more than 1 night. And I just said, hey, I'm just going to bring this one. I'm going to wear this one. So, and it worked out really, really well. This is a very balsamic, slightly resinous, and very spicy fragrance. Has a bit of a cleanliness to it. Actually, really crowd pleaser. I mean, this is a pretty big compliment getter. But I would say you kind of have to like that kind of mossy, balsamic nature that it has. I don't think the fragrance is tough. It just might not necessarily jive with everyone or might not excite everyone. But I definitely plan to give this more successive wears again. It worked out really well when I did it this past year. So once again, from the House of Nishane, this is Papilefiko. All right, next one, another one from the House of Nishane. This one shouldn't be a surprise if you've been watching my channel for any amount of time. It's Hacivat. Nishane's Hacivat. Now, I do tend to restrict wearing this to the warmer months because I want to make room for wearing stuff that, does work better when it's a little bit cooler outside. However, I almost brought this on my trip this past week, but I said, let me do Ganymede because I haven't worn that as much as I would have liked. But honestly, this here is another one that could just be my scent and just leave it alone. I wouldn't even bother with anything else. I need to get a bigger bottle of this. I've run through too much of it. You guys know what it smells like. Beautiful, bright, harsh, pineapple and citrus in the opening. A lot of oak moss in there and some jasmine-like florals to kind of give it a nice heart. Yeah, but when it gets hot here, which is obviously it's hot most of the year here in Central Florida, I definitely tend to give this one plenty of wear sometimes. Just depends on what I'm doing. And frankly, I'm gonna do it again. I like wearing this a lot. I really do enjoy this fragrance. So once again, from the House of Nishane, this is Hacivat. All right, so the next one's coming from the House of Hermes, and this is probably the summertime centered fragrance that I wore the most this past summer. It is Terre d'Hermes Eau Givree. Terre d'Hermes Eau Givree. Now, another one I think, in terms of a summer scent, I think this could be a signature scent for anybody. If you like vetiver, and if you also like the smell of like rindy grapefruit. The actual note given is citron, which I have had citron. Very similar to grapefruit, but there are some differences, but you might as well just call it grapefruit. A little bit of a pepperiness and some cooling effects with some juniper. Wonderful summertime release. Still my best summertime release of last year. And this is one that pretty much can work for anything. So I think this is a great scent, and I'm probably gonna wear this one in multiple days again next year. Once again, from the House of Hermes, this is Terre d'Hermes Eau Givree. All right, and last but not least, from the House of Roja Parfums, we've got Elysium Parfum Pour Homme. Elysium Parfum Pour Homme. Another one that really works well for the summertime months here, or just the warmer months in general. And same thing, went on a work trip that was gonna be a few days in a row, and I decided to just go ahead and wear this one. And this is pretty much in anything scent. I'm pretty sure most of you are familiar with the Elysium DNA, either in this version or the Parfum Cologne version. It's pretty much a sophisticated, upscale blue fragrance. You got great citruses in here, got some aromatics, a little bit of a fruitiness, and kind of a woody, slightly resinous dry down with some very light leathery touches, but the fragrance pretty much just works for anything. So it's a great all-around scent, great signature scent option if you wanted something like that. And yes, I have worn it a number of days in a row, and I'm probably gonna do it again because it's one of those ones where I don't go out of my way to wear this a lot, but when I do, I'm like, yeah, let me just go ahead and get that some real good use because it works so well. So once again, from the House of Roja Parfums, this is Elysium Parfum Pour Homme. All right, guys, that is gonna do it for this video. So let me know down in the comments below, what are some of your most worn fragrances for the year of 2023? I look forward to hearing what you guys share. I appreciate you guys watching all the way into the end. So remember to be well and smell well, and I will see you in the next episode of The Fragrance Well. Have a good one.